Shooby doo. Oh my goodness. Well, I've just been painting and working up a storm. I'm actually working in a theater too, uh, painting a fence, being Tom Sawyer. I've got a friend of mine to help me. That's where the Tom Sawyer comes in. But we certainly are painting a fence. Looks like I'm going to need a haircut or something. Looking terrible. But anyways, who cares? Who cares? What I'm going to do to you today, I'm going to blow your mind. All right? Because what I want to do is I'm going to I'm going to relate a story to you from the Buddhist teachings, and I'm going to show you how to cross all these several religions at one time. Okay, so first off, background in symbolism is the number 4, and the number 4 is represented in all these faiths, and at least between Buddha and Hinduism, it's called Brahman. All right, it's a 4-headed guy. Okay, representing directions. This is the creator of the world, the universe, creator of everything. Okay, now in the Buddhist faith, the Buddha says, I understand you think everything is in has been created and is set in its course. And he says, no, that's not how it is. So he teaches Brahma a lesson. That's going to be our story today. But it's where they on the outside, they would say that this is a conflict between the religions, because they call the Brahma is, one of the creator gods. But they just got to understand that the idea is when it comes down to it, it's you and me. All right. We're the Brahma. We are the 4, and it has to do with 4. Now, in Judaism, 4 is represented by the 4 cardinals, the signs, which would be, I saw there was a face of a bull, and a face of an eagle, and a face of a man, and a face of a lion. Well, these are the 4 cardinal directions, and this is how this is how God is driven around. He rides this vehicle, which they call some kind of a UFO, from literally speaking. But in reality, this is our world, and our world carries God, and that God is you. You carry him, and it's all about you. And whenever you abandon God and go into religion, stuff like, then these 4 worlds get up, and at least the sign that has the white horse on it disappears. It's gone. So, So in Christianity, it's also the 40 days and 40 nights. It's the traveling that they have to go between places to get from here and there. So this number 4 is very interesting. It has to do with travel. And of course, in Christianity, this number 4 becomes worlds representing this travel by going from the Western way of thinking, which is religious, and the black side. This is the black horse. The woman that calls herself black is that she's representing the intellect, the side of man that is considered what we call the black horse. All right. And of course, the northern region, this is our emotions. This is the red horse. And then we have the southern region, which is the pale horse. Our southern region represents the body, the human self. And then we have, or the outside, skin, the brethren. And then we have what's on the east, the right side is the east. That's the spiritual side. And when it's run by religion, your spiritual side is black. That means darkness. That's death in your spiritual world. And so it's one of the worst things that you could possibly do, is abandon this side and let it go desolate like that. But for those people that seek and find this particular way, then there's that white horse that comes in, and it's all about being bridled. It's all about having that bit in your mouth, and it's that you now are in control of yourself. That's the new revelation of it all, is I've learned how to sow my seed correctly and get this all in there. But it's this traveling, it's the path between It's the way we change our mind. It's how we get the new earth and the new heaven. All right. And we have to go through this creator of our universe to do this with. And that's the number 4. And his name is Brahma. All right. So the story goes on like this. It was the story is kind of beautiful, but they set it up. They set it up, and I reckon like 3s. I could figure it out, but if it's probably talking about worlds, it's probably set up in 4s because it's just as mechanical as the verses of the Bible are. All right, because this is talking of a way this never happened. It's not real. These people aren't real. These gods aren't real. Even though they're worshiping all these things, this is the physical representation of this story about yourself. So here we have a story from Buddha, and it's starting off with supposedly the bad guy. Now, what he looks like is he's a regular man, but he's got 4 arms on both sides, and he's got the regular 2 arms, so it makes him 5. So 5 is representing the skin. There's 10 of them, so he's representing both sides, the right side and the left side. And he also has his Kundalini system. That's the left side. And so this left side of him, this is him talking, all right, which would be you and I, challenging this higher conscious, because that's what this is. It's a battle of wits, all right? So he goes, these poor human beings thinking they're doing of good deeds make any difference, when in fact all things are already fixed, dependent on their wills. They are so ignorant. The Brahma god, Baka, has the wrong view. I will help him to see the truth of things. All right, so this is the Brahma god speaking, 1, and 2. Brahma god is saying they are so ignorant. And then 2 is representing, what Brahma's made, and he's talking about human beings. And so 3 is the interjection, which 3 is a holy thing, right? And what he says, this is Buddha speaking. He says the Brahma god Baka has the wrong view. He says, I will help him to see the truth in things. All right. So that's about as far as I can get with the code, because the rest becomes this interesting story. But watch, it says, so Buddha appears in front of Brahma. Brahma rides on a bull, all right, and above him is this guy sitting with all these arms with weapons inside. He's ready to do battle, all right. But when he's riding on the bull, he's awake and alive and well. Let's see here. So he shows up before him and says, Lord Buddha, please sit down. Has the Lord Buddha some important reason for coming to see me? Or would this be of a social call? Baka says, I am aware of your thoughts and beliefs. Oh, you know my thoughts and beliefs? Well, never mind. I never concealed them. They are the truth, as in heaven and on the human realm. All right. Everything that exists in this universe is all fixed and external, all created by me. There is nothing on earth or in the sky, in the sun and the moon and the stars, of which I do not have omnipotent knowledge. Nothing is hidden from me. So Baka, are you sure that you are the creator and master of all things? Are you sure? And that you alone know all things, and that nothing is hidden from you? Absolutely, he says. In that case, why don't you use your powers to create a magic body and hide in a place where you believe nobody can find you? Then I will look for you. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, sure, I can do that. And it says, try to find me if you can. So this was what, was offered up by Buddha. All right. So as he's going off, the first thing he becomes is a bird. All right. And Buddha looks and says, he says, oh, so you want to be a bird, do you? So, oh, it found me. So he hides himself in with a bunch of bees flying around, a bunch of pollen. That's the second one. All right. Ooh, that's really interesting that you're flying around like flower. Must that be that pollen? Must be, getting, must be some his attraction to pollen, which is cool because when we buzz around our flowers, it's a type of meditation. But anyways, his third thing in here is that he hides within the sand. He says, do you think that I can't find you and you mix yourself within the sand and the sea, of the earth? You don't think I can find you in there? And so he's like, Jesus Christ, man. So he gives up. All right. And he says, okay, listen, I understand. I got to give it to you. You can find me. You can find me now. All right. You have a way of doing it. But listen, you disappear now. Let me look for you. All right. Remember now, and God, this Buddha represents God. And so, anyways, he says, sure. So he closes his eyes, and this guy himself starts looking for him all over the world, everywhere, where men live and where they don't, trying to find them in houses and churches, wilderness, deserts and stuff like that, flying off into the cosmos, looking in the moon and the sun, and checking out the different planets and traveling even on and on and on and on and on. He finally says, I give up, please. What part of the world have you hidden yourself in? He says, I've not hidden myself in anyone. What kingdoms and universes have you hidden yourself in? He says, I have not hidden myself once. He says, all the while that you've been looking for me, I've been walking up and down above your head. All this while. And when the guy recognized this, he looked up. This is how the story would go. He said he looked up and he saw a Buddha. And he came off of the bull that he was riding. And those extra arms all just turned into just his two arms. And so he became a disciple. He recognized, he says, yes, it is. It is you or the omnipotent one, not me. So this is the end of the story, kind of, except it goes like this. He asked Baka, he says, pay close attention to this little story. So here's the story. The power and pleasures in this Brahma realm are very long lasting. They encourage you to think that all things are permanent. In fact, all phenomenon have the nature to rise, persist for some time, and then pass away. All things exist. All things exist independence of a cause and conditions. All beings are born of their actions, heirs to their actions, or related to their actions, have reactions as a refuge, are owners of their actions. Whatever actions are performed, good or bad, we must receive the results. And that was the end of that little story. So, this goes to show that, we are responsible for what's going on in the world by the way we think. And we also responsible for our own lives by either putting it in the outside world or taking it over yourself. All right. So this idea of the beast and all these things running all these stories, if you can just understand that, you're the beast, you're the one that needs to be tamed. You're the one that this ego outside of you, that's this big, strong man that knows everything and thinks everything, and has a grasp on everything and knows everything. People could say I'm like that, but I'm trying to teach the idea of enlightenment so that you could know it, so you could know more than normal, than you normally would. And the information that I teach, it just sets you free. It doesn't put you over anyone, because someone will just say, that's just your opinion. And we can just say, yeah, it is. It could be. Thank God I'm allowed to have my own opinion. But what this is this is just like with most people. We run around all the time looking for God, trying this religion and trying that religion and trying this and trying that, and even religions within themselves are don't do this and don't do that, and especially don't do that. And so they really don't like each other in some ways, but they are all the same. What caused that? What happened? you know, where they all are actually talking about the same place, the same thing, the same nirvana, rapture, the end of times, ready when you are. So is delta frequency. But all this time you run around looking for it outside you in all these different places, you know. And as the story goes, it was really with you just outside, because you haven't welcomed him inside, but that's where he is. He's always with us, and that's what they say. God is both these energies, as being the good side and the bad side. So he's with you. He's never left you. You are him. Whether you turn this light on or not, you're the Brahma. You're the only one that can change the world, and it all starts by changing your mind. You know. It's a pretty shitty place when people are killing stuff and they use children as the reason for, you know, we're going to destroy this guy for killing, gassing, and a bunch of children. And I wonder how many children are going to pay the price now on our side by just, and whose side? Pray for our group. Pray for everyone. It's all the same God. What do you say? Just, we should not do this at all. And talk about the destruction and the hatred, and that this guy is awful. We're going to show him who the most awfuler one is. Who's stronger here? Who's doing this now? And of course, if you guys know me, you know that I don't believe any of this crap. I believe it was all persuaded. It was all concocted and contrived. And we have to separate from that. There's just no good in it whatsoever. We can't even bask in any kind of glory from it, none whatsoever. But it's time for you to get upstairs and clean house. And whenever storm comes around, if you built your house on stone, you'll be able to take it. You need it now. This is those rumors of war. And truly, all of this stuff has to happen before the end of times. But if you think, it's the real end of time for the world, well, maybe for whoever's underneath the bomb, behind a bullet, in the way of the narrative, yeah, the end of times maybe for those guys. But this dirty old planet of ours is going to keep on going and going and going all the time. And the only escape, the only way is go up, connect mom and dad together. Go as a child. Go as that child they speak about. And hate this outside of you for just a moment or two. Be fed up with him. Take on yourself. Stand before the Lord. Have the guts. Stand up strong. Judge yourself. This is what it's called. You're going up there. I am going to ask the Lord for mercy. And you'll get it. Love you guys.